Republican presidential candidate and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley criticized fellow GOP hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy on Monday over comments that he made late last week expressing support for cutting financial aid to Israel in a few years. Ramaswamy said late last week in an interview on the Rumble show Stay Free with Russell Brand that he wanted to expand the Abraham Accords, in which Israel normalized relations with a few of its Arab neighbors, so that additional aid for Israel won't be necessary by 2028 when the current package is set to expire. Haley said in the release that Ramaswamy is completely wrong to call for ending the special bond between the United States and Israel. Support for Israel is both the morally right and strategic smart thing to do. Both countries are stronger and safer because of our ironclad friendship. As president, I will never abandon Israel, she said. Haley, who served as ambassador to United Nations during the Trump administration, has repeatedly emphasized her support for Israel throughout her public career, including as governor of South Carolina. She regularly defended the relationship between the United States and Israel as ambassador to other member countries of the UN. Ramaswamy said during the interview that he thinks the U.S. Israel relationship has been in the country's interest, and he believes in abiding by commitments that the U.S. already made, but he wants Israel to be more incorporated into the rest of the Middle East region. He said he wants to negotiate an Abraham Accords 2.0 to include countries such as Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, and Indonesia to get Israel on its own 2 feet. The original accords included the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, with Sudan and Morocco Morocco following soon after. Make sure I pronounce correctly. I want to get Israel to the place where it is negotiated back into the infrastructure of the rest of the Middle East. We should not be worried about holding one nation or one region hostage over one particular question relating to Palestine, Ramaswamy said. He argued that expanding accords is good for us, such that come 2028 that additional aid won't be necessary in order to still have the kind of stability that we'd actually have in the Middle East by having Israel more integrated with its partners. Haley argued in a post on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, that Ramaswamy's proposal is part of a pattern with him of policies that make the U.S. less safe. Haley's criticism comes as she and Ramaswamy and several other GOP candidates will face each other for the first GOP presidential debate Wednesday. So, I try to be fair to the candidates. When they say something I agree with, that I think is right, I'll give them credit for it. When someone does something I think is goofy, I'll tell you that as well. And in this case, I think Haley took a very big loss and is kind of posturing for a group that doesn't really exist. Now, I've explained before, all the Republican candidates are afraid to criticize Trump. They are scared of him. He is like he's almost like Voldemort. They won't even say his name, as Christie pointed out, and who is the sole exception, I should say. So because Haley doesn't want to criticize the actual front runner of the race, and her original strategy to get in early and hopefully get some traction by being one of the first people to announce she was running hasn't really been working out for her, she figures, okay, well, I guess I have to go after the next two people surging, and she sees DeSantis plummeting with each and every passing day. So that only really leaves Ramaswamy. And, my thing is, you could probably find some stuff to go over him that's legitimate. We talked about how I don't agree with the, raising the voting age proposal. I thought that was goofy. But you're going to be hard pressed in a Republican primary, because they've done polls about how most people don't care about foreign policy. What voter, like prospective voter, someone who's likely to vote in the Republican primary, is going to go, well, I liked Ramaswamy until he said that he wanted to cut aid to Israel. Like, who cares? Like, the only part of what he said I really disagree with is that the Israel relationship with the U.S. has been in our interest. I would say it's been in Israel's interest, because we helped a little stupid apartheid state with their lousy right-wing government commit atrocities against Palestinians. But besides that, I'm all for less involvement with them. But this is her attempt to try and go after someone that's actually getting some momentum. And, I kind of, in a way, I feel bad for her, because her strategy made sense. Like, I'm going to get in this race really early, And I'm going to get this artificial buzz from the media because there was no big effort to get Haley to run for president. I don't care what anybody says. She was not some big, huge name that people were so excited at the prospect of running. And as she sat here for the last, what, 5, 6 months, I can't believe it's been that long already, just kind of spinning her wheels, not really progressing whatsoever. She sees Ramaswamy, who got in just a short time after, I believe it was like a week later, um, actually getting some traction, and is now trying to, I guess, hope she can peel away some. And it's stupid too, because really there's only two votes in the Republican primary: the anti-Trump voter, the people that are preferring to vote for someone else, or Trump. So basically, she's trying to siphon off an already limited number of votes, which is one of the reasons why Trump's leads in all these different states is, double digits plus. It's just not going to work. No one from Ramaswamy's camp, that 9% that, nationally, and I guess it's, we can go over to different state polling, but no one that's thinking of voting for him is going to be turned off or dissuaded because the former UN ambassador it thinks it would be awful to abandon Israel. It's like, how are you abandoning Israel because you don't give them money? Like, we have plenty of relationships with countries that don't give us anything that we would still call ourselves allies with. I mean, it's just a really goofy perspective. But I've mentioned before that Israel is one of two countries, along with Saudi Arabia, that the U.S. has this really like parasitic relationship with, where they just will do whatever to stay with and defend any policy from. And I don't mind, he tries to frame it as like, we're giving them some independence, but I really don't mind just having less to do with them for that reason. I think we're too closely attached to them. They've been receiving a lot of benefits off of us that they shouldn't have. And it's really funny to watch a person who, when I thought she got in, after, lying and saying that she wouldn't run if Trump ran, was going to like actually have a place in this race, just kind of flounder month after month. So what's going to happen tomorrow is on the debate stage, she's probably going to attack Ramaswamy over this exact same issue, because this stuff like this is previews of things to come usually. But she's going to try and hit him on international issues because she thinks that's her strength as a former UN ambassador, even though the reality is most voters do not care about foreign policy. That's a fact. We can go and look at polls that show that. And after her attempts to make him go further down backfire, or otherwise don't move the needle for either of them, she's going to probably drop out. I'd say before Iowa, but maybe after a disappointing showing. She'll be like Bachmann, where she dropped after Iowa, just like coming in 5th or 6th place. Because Haley's campaign is just it's a joke, and it's got no momentum. She stands for nothing. She's too afraid to criticize the actual front runner of the race, so she has to like punch down at someone who actually now is above her and is probably going to keep getting further and further of a lead on top of her and many of the other candidates. And I don't know what, like, maybe Ramaswamy's top percentage I think it's hinged on if the other people get out. So if we get to Iowa and there's still like 8 or 9 people, he might he might get to maybe early double digits, like 15, 16. But it's hard to run against a popular, well, not popular nationwide, but within the Republican primary, a very popular ex-president who has a very commanding lead, and then at the same time have to like fend off the pest and has-beens and never was like Haley, who are going to try and attack you, not because you have some egregious position that they can like truly make the case for why this is bad, but because they're too afraid to criticize the actual, like, if I were Haley, every day I'd be getting up talking about why would you want to run the one person who lost to Biden against Biden the second time, Adlai Stevenson 2.0. I would go after Trump like there was no tomorrow, because he's got a 40, sometimes 30, 50 point lead over the other people. I'm not going to go and say, oh, there's this one person that's 5-6 points up on me. I'll go after them instead, because again, it's like crabs in the barrel. So this will end up being part of her undoing. Ramaswamy will not be affected by this at all. I can guarantee it. In fact, he might actually see a little bit of a bump because there is a thing of like people when candidates are seen as being antagonistic to each other for really no reason because he's not the front runner, like he's not number one. So to go after him with such a like veracity might entice some more Republican voters to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe he wasn't my first choice, but that Haley lady is like really desperate to and really cowardly too to have to go after the second or third place person instead of going directly for the front man. So this is it's just more sour grapes on her part. She sees her campaign is failing and she's trying to, I guess, get a boost off of messing with him, but there will be no boost.